Is Batman The Dark Knight as good as everyone says it is? We're back on track with this series, done with Superman. It's time for the second Batman movie. Just like the first one, this movie is also directed by the one and only Christopher Nolan. But something my brother mentioned while we were watching this movie is that this one really feels like a Christopher Nolan movie. There is a lot more depth to this movie than the first one. Don't get me wrong, the first one, there is lots going on and lots of depth, especially in his character. But this one, there's so many different twists and turns, and it always goes a little bit further than you're expecting it to. Right? That's the definition of a Christopher Nolan movie. It always exceeds your expectations, no matter what. You think the Joker's finished? Too bad. He's got another trick up his sleeve. And again, and again, and again. It just keeps happening, right? So this one just really had more of a Christopher Nolan feel. Like I mentioned last time, Christian Bale is a really good actor. Nothing really changes about his character throughout this movie, which I kind of understand because there's so much going on. So you're kind of okay with it. The only emotional development that he has, I would say, is the ending where Rachel dies. So obviously, that's pretty hard hitting and quite the impact. And also, he starts to come to terms with the fact that there needs to be the White Knight, someone who can portray the good. And he knows that he can't be that. So there's some maturity rising within him in that aspect. But other than that, nothing really changes. He's still Batman / Bruce Wayne. In terms of character, I think this movie, rightfully so, focuses more on Joker because he provides so much diversity, so much moral dilemmas. So the Joker doesn't really get like a lot of screen time, but he's constantly on your mind, right? He's an impact right away all the time because you're always wondering what he's going to do, right? It really focuses on how the Joker is just chaos. He just wants to see the world burn. He just wants to see it go crazy. He wants to prove that anyone, no matter how righteous, how good, how straightforward they are, anyone he can turn and make them evil. And I honestly like that they focus on that. I like a bad guy that's just bad for the heck of it. He doesn't want money. He doesn't want power. He just wants to see the world burn. And then I think what's crazy is that they actually do lose in this movie. What the Joker wanted to happen happened. He turned the most righteous man, Harvey Dent, the guy who's supposed to be the White Knight, who's supposed to lead the city into the bright future. He turns Harvey Dent into Two-Face, someone who's going around leaving people's lives up to chance. I'd say the only part where the Joker was wrong was with the two boats who both could explode the other, and they would save themselves if they blew up the other boat. And if neither of them blew up each other, they both blew up by midnight. But neither of them blew up each other. But even then, the Joker is like, until you break their spirit, which I did because I broke Harvey Dent. And so then they have to race and find Harvey Dent. And it turns out he's completely turned. What do? So then Batman decides that all of Harvey Dent's deaths are going to be put on him so that they can still have that White Knight picture so that people's spirits don't break. The only thing that rewatching these two movies has done to me is make me hate Rachel Dawes and realize that she's kind of a terrible person. No. She's not a terrible person. She's a really good person, but she's terrible with relationships and romantic ideas. Like, just leave her out of it. So when she died, like, I didn't care, man. I was glad she was gone. Now, my question for you guys is, would this movie even be good if it wasn't Heath Ledger playing the Joker? Because honestly, he absolutely sold the character, right? And if you aren't sold on the Joker, you're not sold on the rest of the movie. The reason it feels so real and so crazy is because Heath Ledger can make someone like the Joker seem real and seem so, because the Joker is so crazy, so chaotic. He sows war. He doesn't plan it, I guess, because he said he doesn't look like a man with a plan, but it certainly seems like he plans it. But more often than not in movies, if you have a character like that, it's hard to sell. And if you don't sell the character, you don't sell the movie. So if this movie didn't have Heath Ledger as Joker or someone similar, I think this movie would have been a lot harder to watch. So I have to give props to Heath Ledger, because without him, I don't think this movie, it still would have been good, but it wouldn't have been the movie that it is today. It's remembered for that performance. And also Christian Bale sells Batman really well, because there's two characters who both sell their character really well. It clashes perfectly. Oh, and because there's two actors who both sell their character really well, it makes the clash of chaos and order really realistic and real and almost personal. So obviously, I love this movie. Would this movie even be good without Heath Ledger as the Joker? Let me know in the comments below. And like I said earlier, like this video, subscribe, so that you can be ready for when my review for Batman number 3, The Dark Knight Rises, comes out. And as always, let's bolt.